This is the Troutbitten Podcast.
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten?
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten?
Yeah, Troutbitten.
Troutbitten.
It's about trout.
Wild trout. This is Troutbitten.
This is the Troutbitten Podcast, and thanks for tuning in. My name is Dominic Swantowski. I'm the owner of Troutbitten and the author of Troutbitten.com. All right, here it is. The annual Airing of Grievances has arrived. For the last 2 years, we've dedicated a full episode in the spring season of the Troutbitten Podcast to the complaints, to the pet peeves, to our frustrations with the fly fishing industry, and even with each other. This yearly event is something we all look forward to. It's a time to clear the air and get things out in the open. Apparently you, the listeners, look forward to it as well, because the Airing of Grievances episodes are some of the most downloaded and listened to episodes of all time. It's kind of neat to see that. So we'll get this started in a minute, but this year we're also featuring guest grievances. Many of you have volunteered these since this time last year, and I've kept an ongoing list that has more grievances than we could ever have time to cover tonight, but we'll throw some of them in here along the way. So I had a friend tell me we should call this episode Trout Bitchin', and that's pretty good. And the dedicated listeners already know this. Part of what we do at Troutbitten is to call out some of the absurdities in the industry. We've addressed authors, articles, and books, YouTubers, influencers, and general trends or themes in the industry along the way all year long. We do it all the time. We don't need an Airing of Grievances episode necessarily for that, because honestly, it's part of what this Troutbitten project has always been about. And I've said this every year, but these grievances and our sometimes disagreeable nature is a simple effort to make things better. It's not just to complain about things. We call balls and strikes as we see them, in hopes to tell the truth, to highlight some things that are wrong, and to try to make them better. This spring, for example, we have been hammering away about not stocking over wild trout. Why? Because the situation will only get worse if we don't talk about it, bring some attention to the problems, and try to redirect the policies of our fish commissions and the clubs and the private landowners that stock over wild trout. It is getting better, and many things will get better by acknowledging the problems out there. So yeah, some of these grievances tonight are of a serious nature like that. There are mistakes out there that lead to real problems, that confuse anglers or lead us all down an unsustainable path. But there's also a group of grievances that are pretty lighthearted. For example, I think Deli is dumb for not making better use of split shot, right? Right, Deli?
He's dumbfounded.
That's the way I choose to fish.
Jackass. But who cares? Go ahead.
I can use it if I want to.
Oh, see?
Choose not to.
I know. And you do
Choose
once
not
in a while.
to run.
But really, who cares, right? And that's what I'm saying. We can argue about that one, Deli and I have. And I can file that as a grievance. We can have some fun with the debate and then move on. But in the process of that debate, either Bill or I or anyone listening to the argument might get some good ideas too. You see what I mean? I guess I've always been like this. My mom would certainly agree with that. I've always wanted to voice my complaints, right? And my sincere effort from all of us here, our sincere effort, is to make things a little better by highlighting these things tonight. Some of them are serious. Some of them are really lighthearted. So, sound good, guys? You ready?
Yeah.
Let me introduce you. So here with me tonight for the third annual Airing of Grievances, we have Matt Grobe. What's up, bud?
Hey now.
You daylight over there?
Still daylight, but it's getting darker because I feel some grievances coming on.
That's true. I think you take the most pleasure from this episode, right, Matt? Is that fair? You like this one?
I think it's fair to say. I think
It
it's
suits you?
It suits me, and I think it's very important to call some of this bullshit out.
I think so. Right? It's good.
And along the way, just it humbles the listener and us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And what are you going to say to move us along?
Next grievance.
Clicker.
Right, there's the clicker. We're going to click it along.
Wait, I got to do that again. Next grievance.
There it is. That was crisp. Yeah.
That is
We need
crisp.
it.
I went fishing with Joey today, and we wrote down all of the old grievances. We had like an hour drive, and on the way there, we listened to Airing of Grievances too. I seriously mean it. Like, my favorite part was Grobe going, "Next grievance." At one point, he goes, "Those guys are jabronis. Next grievance." So anyway, we like to have a lot of fun with it. Dr.
That's
Trevor
awesome.
Smith just had a beer with you
Yeah.
last night.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, we did on the back porch.
I feel like you have the fewest grievances about things. You're pretty
Mhm.
amicable.
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to think it's just because I'm good natured, but I think it's also because I live under a rock.
Mhm.
I don't. A couple years ago, I kind of unplugged from social media for the most
Yeah.
part, and I just kind of do my thing, and I try to stay away from people and avoid being in situations where I see others. So,
Yeah.
if I have, if I had grievances, I'll share some of the guest grievances tonight, and if I can, I'll probably think of one or two.
You'll think of
But yeah.
something.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I'm living
If you
a
fish,
peaceful
if you
life
fish
now.
long enough, you get pissed
Yeah.
off sooner or later.
But it is a lot of people-oriented stuff, right? And if
Oh,
you,
my
if you can
goodness,
just
yeah.
stay away from people
Yeah.
and their thoughts.
Oh my goodness!
People
In one,
suck.
like I got on Instagram the other day just to accept friend requests. Which
Oh,
there
yeah,
were-
you told
I
me
had
this.
about 60 friend requests.
He hadn't
which
been
was
on
real
for 6
sweet,
months, though. Did you
right?
say 6 months?
6 months,
Yeah.
and in one,
Humble
in
brag.
literally 5 minutes,
It is kind of.
I got angry looking
Mhm.
at fishing pictures,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Man, it's incredible, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
just so quick." And so I don't know.
So quick. I
So
didn't like
quick.
people all of a sudden. So quick.
I know. I know. Anyway, I'm content being away from it all.
So Dr. Smith is the nice guy here. Josh Darling. Been a while, bud. About time is his screen name tonight. Josh Darling,
That's
nice to
right.
have you back. You've had a lot of
Missed-
things going on.
Yeah.
You're a farmer now?
yeah. I am a farmer.
Mhm.
That's what they're saying.
Hmm.
Yeah, we moved our family of 6 over to our family farm.
Right
Lots
on.
of property, smaller house, but lots of property.
Good
So-
for you. Yeah.
and from one river to another.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful valley that you're
Man, it really
you're
is.
up in the narrow part,
Yeah.
but then that wide valley way down below, or not too far down below you. That's,
No, just a few
That's
minutes.
so pretty down
Yeah.
there. That's neat.
Yeah.
Nice to have you back, bud. Good to see you.
Yeah. We'll hopefully more of that soon. I feel like I've missed the whole season just because we've not. There's one company that can get internet to our house, and
Mhm.
they're backed up. Like when I called them, they couldn't get out for a month and a half, and so we're still waiting on internet at
Wow.
our place. So I'm
Did you-
crashing at Doctor's house tonight.
Did you tell
Yeah.
them that you are Mr. Wild's Media? Did you tell them who you are?
It probably would have helped, huh?
That you needed your internet?
Maybe that
Do
would
you
have
know who
helped.
I am?
Do you know who I am?
If you knew who you were dealing with.
They would have laughed at you.
Kind of a big
Come on.
deal.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm a pretty big deal. So we got Deli. Bill Dell is here. Ready for some trouble, aren't you, buddy?
Yep. Writing stuff down on a notepad here.
Uh-huh. When Joey and I were writing down all the airing of grievances, all the topics, all the grievances from season 2, 1 year ago, almost 1 year ago today, this one cracked me up. Deli started complaining about people riding in the middle of the road with their bicycles. I mean,
You drive fishing enough, you're gonna get mad too.
he starts saying, "Little Billy on his bicycle, he's riding in the middle of the road, won't get over. I'm just trying to go fishing." What are we doing?
I got a lot of problems with these people.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're gonna hear about it. That's Frank Costanza. Who wants to talk us through? Austin is not here. Our buddy Austin is busy right now, and Austin usually breaks this down because Austin is probably the biggest Seinfeld fan of all of us. But the airing of grievances comes from one of the best Seinfeld episodes of all time. Who wants to
Yeah.
break this down?
Yeah, I'll keep it short because I'm not
Sure.
going to be a Dando replacement.
The
But
airing
Frank
of
Costanza,
grievances.
right? I don't know if he invents the holiday Festivus, but Festivus for the rest of us. And
Right.
one of the essential practices of this holiday is an airing of grievances where
Yes.
you basically make everybody sit down and you tell them all your problems about them. So shout out to Frank Costanza, Seinfeld. It's a fantastic idea.
Frank is George's dad. One of the best
Yeah.
characters on any sitcom ever.
For sure.
And we could talk about the feats of strength later.
Oh, yeah.
Every year we talk about
We
maybe,
hold those as well. It's at
yeah,
our Christmas
yeah.
party.
Troutbitten party, we had some feats of strength.
We did.
Arm wrestling.
Yeah. Well,
It was humbling.
that wasn't my event.
Dom, we have to think of some events
Let's
for
not
next year
relive that.
highlight our age.
All right. Yeah, all right. No questions. No other topics. I will say there's a new. Well, I'm going to cheat on that. There's a new trail Troutbitten beer
Yeah.
coming on June 29th.
You know.
Is the first pour. Come join us in Williamsport at the New Trail Brewing Company.
Yeah.
We got a few things to give away from some of our favorite companies. But most of all, we just want to hang out. There's no tickets necessary. Just come drink a couple beers, and Josh is driving us home. Since you weren't here, Josh, we made you the designated driver.
Deal.
Hey,
Here.
that was quick. That was easy.
Yeah.
All right.
Just happy to be included, guys.
Yeah, right. Well, you've done a lot. You designed the can, buddy.
That's right. It looks pretty good.
Oh, it looks great.
It looks awesome.
Good job,
Doesn't
Josh.
it?
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
we've
Yeah.
shared some of that on social media, and we'll do a little bit more of that. That's a few weeks from when we're recording. And we're extremely excited about this. And Austin has done a ton of work to get that going. Josh has done a ton of work graphics-wise to get that going. So I just kind of sat back and I said, well, I like drinking this kind of beer.
Yeah.
You guys want to start with internal grievances. All right, we do this every year. You know what I will say? One of my grievances with everybody else, not us. So this is not internal, but this is external grievances. Many people are like, here's the first annual softball tournament, the first annual. Don't tell me it's the first annual anything, right? You need to get to the second one before you start
At
calling
least,
it.
yeah.
Right? It's very
yeah.
optimistic to say the first annual anything. Last year, we said, here's the second airing of grievances. Now, I want to be so bold to call it the annual airing of grievances because we have a track record.
We do.
Anyway, that's external. Internal grievances, gentlemen. What do you have? Let's start with that. What do we do that's wrong? What's wrong with Troutbitten? What did we screw up this year?
I have an internal grievance.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, here comes Deli.
So it is nice to have good fishing friends. Sometimes it's not when you share ideas and flies with them and they have a podcast and they talk about them. And so they burn your ideas down. They burn your patterns down.
What are you talking about specifically?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably Austin. He's not here.
Really? Okay.
No.
Very secretive all of a sudden.
Austin's definitely an information gatherer. He's always grilling people for their info.
Is that a grievance?
It's a grievance. It's a
Ooh.
grievance.
Well, I'm still tired of Austin, flexing his muscles. What did he wear a singlet like 3 weeks ago? And we all made fun of him for that. But then he didn't change.
Mm-mm. No, he doubled down on it.
Is he the youngest? Or Josh, you and Austin are the youngest.
Yeah, I think I've got him by a few months.
So he is the youngest.
He's the youngest, yeah. We're the
Yeah,
same age, though.
Youngest guy's got to show off that he's the most fit. I don't know if he's the most fit. Josh, you want to argue that one?
No, Austin is very, very strong. I wouldn't presume to be stronger. I'm sure that there are some things I can do better and some things he can do better.
Oh, okay.
Diplomatic.
What other internal grievances do we have here, gentlemen?
I'm sick of feeling like the black sheep out of this bunch just because I'm in Montana, right?
Have you looked at
Far
your
away.
feed, your video? I mean, it's total crap.
What?
Your video.
What do you mean?
I mean, your highlights all around you. Ask Josh.
Well,
I mean, it's a joke.
It's daylight, all right?
It's not a log file, I'll tell you
Your
that.
exposure's way off.
My gosh.
It's
I
a
miss
daylight
out on-
vision
over there.
I miss out on new beer pourings even though
Uh-huh.
Dom invited me. I can't, not acknowledge that. But all the
Yeah.
fishing trips and all the,
It does suck.
selfies with the group, I'm sick of it. Stop.
You need to come out here more. That's
There's a
the
way to
cure.
resolve this.
Mhm.
It
Well,
involves
when you
you
come
moving
home-
back to PA.
That too. But just when you come home, you have a pizza with deli.
I do.
I've never had
He's
a
the only
pizza.
one.
I've never been invited to that pizza
Hey,
party.
We drank beers at a Steeler game.
I know, right? That was cool. Do it again.
All right, we need to pick a Steelers game this year and all meet up.
Yeah. My dad's got 2 extra tickets. Trevor and I talked about that last night.
Yeah.
We get 4 of us there.
Two's
3
not
of
enough.
us there. And my dad.
Yes. I need to get up there.
I
I
like
need
it.
to tailgate.
So you feel like a black sheep.
Black sheep. Moving on.
All right.
Next grievance.
I will say, here's one of my grievances. Josh, you and I need to get back to the videos. What are we doing? Let's
Agreed.
go.
Agreed.
Right? You
yeah,
and
it's been
me.
well, yeah,
6
sure,
weeks.
Sure, I do take a lot of the blame for that. I've not had
Me too.
any chance. I don't feel like, but we're back now. Let's go.
Right. right? Josh had a lot of stuff to do. I kind of had a lot of stuff to do. Even when we went to Patagonia, what have we done? Done just one since
I think
then.
one video since then, yeah.
Right. So, but we've done a lot of other stuff, and we had the live stream with Tom Rosenbauer last week. So it's not like we're not moving. Oak and Oscar is an American watch company that does things the right way, not the easy way, crafting mechanical timepieces that combine Swiss precision with American know-how. Oak and Oscar was founded in 2015, named after the owner's love of bourbon and his dog Oscar. Their watches are built to withstand even the most adventurous fly angler. Our very own Austin Dando has been putting his Olmsted to the test since last year. Oak and Oscar is a watch company that loves fly fishing. Visit their website at oakandoscar.com/troutbitten. Mark your time on the water with Oak and Oscar. Here's my self-grievance and my internal grievance for Troutbitten. It takes too long for things to come to fruition. For example, how long have I been talking about the fish along videos? How long?
So
Come
long.
on. A year and a half?
Feels like
A
as
little
long
bit.
as I've known.
Since
Maybe 2 years.
1987, I think.
About 87, 97, if you...
Yeah,
Um,
somewhere in that range.
But really, I've been talking about that Fish Along series, which is something I've been working on for a long time, working on even learning how to film myself fishing, this and that. Anyway, I've also been talking about books for a long time, right? And those things are coming, and I am still promising it. I will tell you, the Fish Along series is coming. Yeti is going to sponsor it. I'm proud to say that. Yeti's sponsoring the first 4 videos of the Fish Along series.
Nice.
That's cool. And there you go. Like all of a sudden when I booked that out, I was like, okay, we got to do it.
Can't get out
Is
of
that
it
what
now.
is that what you're calling it?
What do you mean, the Fish Along?
I don't like that.
It was too bad.
Grievance.
Because I've been
Almost bad name.
It's an immediate grievance. Fish along.
Immediate grief.
I don't like it.
Makes me feel bad about
I don't
myself.
like it either. Burn it down.
I'm immediately
Oh, well.
grieved.
I'm immediately
It's
grieved.
coming.
I'm
Talking
grieving.
about for 2
I'm grieving
years.
over our streams that are being fished along.
It's just, it doesn't go well with fish hard,
Uh,
fish along. I don't know. It's just
maybe I'll
Too wussy.
put the emphasis on the other syllable, and then you'll like it.
oh shit.
We'll see. Anyway, books. I don't know when the books are coming. I'd love to say in about a year, right? And I'm very excited about that project, but it will be it'll be the biggest thing I've ever tried to tackle. But I'll do
So
it.
you should let us write what do they call the thing that someone writes, the foreword or whatever?
Oh yeah.
Seriously,
Not
I
You should
am
let all
serious.
of us write.
I know. Matt, I swear to God, that is exactly
That
my
would be-
plan. I have thought
That'd
about
be
that.
cool.
I'm not going to get some celebrity to write my forward. I want fisherman to
Oh,
write
yeah.
my forward. Right? You could bust
Heck
my
yeah.
balls in a forward.
Yeah,
I can.
This
absolutely.
book is going to look better than any other book. Also, I can't wait.
Oh,
I don't think it should. It shouldn't be like a forward. It should be the roast. Like the first 5
Yeah,
pages of the
yeah.
book
Could
are
have a
just
roast.
a
I
roast.
like that.
That's good. See, we're going to do things different. That's why it isn't published yet. That's why it isn't written yet, because I know it's got to be different. I will say in the last 6 months, I've really started to understand exactly what I want to write. And for the first book. So we'll do
I'm
it.
excited
Nice.
for our book signing tour already.
Right, you're going on a book signing tour.
Yeah, you guys can join me if you want, but
You can go out. I
Well,
don't want
I'm
to.
just
I don't
gonna
want to
go.
do it.
Trevor, you and I,
mean, we
got a
got-
night fishing book before he does, so that we can take all of his ideas first.
you know what? That's not a bad idea.
Oh, that's great.
Any other internal grievances, guys? There seem to be less this time.
We had a good year.
We're
I got my
happy you're
tooth.
true.
I got my tooth, Matt. Last year
And
you,
you got
you
your tooth.
complained that you had to look
that's
at a
good.
gap in my mouth.
It's been a nice smile,
Right?
a nice
Thank you.
change of pace.
Right? Like $10,000 later, I got a tooth.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I don't know if it's that much, but my God. All right, I got a
probably
guest
not far
grievance
off.
then. Our first guest
Yeah.
grievance comes from Farlow Malco. I don't know. We're going to have some funny names because a lot of these came through Instagram. Because I posted to the stories, I said, hey, we're recording tonight the Airing of Grievances episode. So what do you have? What are guest grievances? I bet we
We got
got
a lot of replies.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I bet we
I
got
know.
50 of them so far. So we'll read a bunch of those tonight. And here's one that is really an internal grievance. Farlow Malco says, my grievance is, hey, Troutbitten, stop complaining all the time.
Ouch.
No, it's fair. That's what we do. Right? We
We
complain
have
a
been a little
lot.
bitchy this season.
Have we?
That's true.
Well, tell these people need to stop being stupid. We won't bitch as much.
Yeah, I know. All right. Anyway, so we do. I already addressed it in the intro, why we complain. whatever. I'm not going to defend it.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Right. I like to call it as we see it.
Yeah. The Airing of Grievances. Annual Airing of Grievances. Number 3.
Here we go.
Here we go. There's no format. Let's go. Let's roll. They got to be quick, though.
What?
Next grievance.
I feel like based on the intro, I need to go first.
Yeah, okay.
Just
let's
start
do
this
that.
off.
It's internal. Matt always feels like he's got to be
Here's a grievance.
First of everything.
I like it, and I'm going to continue to do it.
Mhm.
So here's my problem. Going through my IG feed over the last couple months, one thing has been apparent and annoying, and it's these fly manufacturers or companies selling flies.
Yeah.
Putting a real bug on a picture and then adding 2 fake flies.
Yeah.
And making it seem like those flies, like which one should I choose? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's always like a perdigon and an oversized silver bead, right?
Yeah.
And it's like that fly looks nothing.
Nothing like it.
Like a stone fly. All right. So
good.
don't do the disservice
Yeah.
to the real tires out there that actually go through segmentation and really try to do a good job and act like your perdigon that's a thread fly looks like anything close to a stonefly nymph or all the multicolored mayfly nymphs out there.
I love it.
Stop it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I hadn't thought about that.
I'm grieved.
Just because it's the same shade, the same color shade, and approximately the same size, it doesn't look anything like it.
No.
Don't put
Like,
it
if
in your
you
hand and they're both wet and be like, oh, look, here, I'm matching the hatch. You're not matching the hatch.
And you're an influencer. You mentioned that, right? You're like a leading fly fishing brand and you have 2 perdigon nymphs next to a stonefly. Here, which one should I pick? The black thread or the brown thread? Because that really took a lot of skill to tie. No.
Yeah. Nice.
I've got a grievance.
Matt's not having it. Okay. Doctor's got something.
This is a grievance at our own listeners.
Ooh.
And it's just a small subset.
I like it.
There's some Karens out there
Way to make enemies, bud.
that I feel like every single time we put out a podcast, there's somebody that's so determined to misunderstand what we're trying to say that they take it as a professional sport to find some way to be offended by what we said. And we've had it with almost every episode this year.
Sure. We've been complaining this.
You know who you are if you're listening to this.
That's right.
And stop being Karens. Stop being little, you know what, about. It's
bitching.
Right? It takes, I feel like we do a pretty good job of being balanced in what we say. We even qualify statements. We try to offer both sides. And granted, like nothing's ever going to be a 50-50 proposition, but man, if you get offended or you're really annoyed by the fact that our podcast is about tactics, then you are listening to the wrong podcast. It's about tactics. We talk a lot about trout and tactics. Yeah. So just stop being annoyed by it and don't write a review about it and find something you like.
Or go away.
Go away. Yeah. It's a self-indictment on you. So anyway, I'll probably get somebody's going to respond to that.
You're going to lose patience. He's going to lose his job.
I'm gonna lose. Gosh, I hope so.
Now you're really losing it.
I have another listener grievance. Now we're grieving on listeners.
Wow.
Everyone who listens to our podcast knows that we don't like to put stream names in articles, but
Good
half of the time that we do the live event, both times we did a live event, like the third comment down has been like, oh, I went to Matt's Creek and I caught, and we're doing this. And it's like, do you not listen to our podcast and understand what we're saying and you're making it worse? It's the same thing with the articles. Like I see it in the articles too, where people will post, I was just down at Matt's Creek. And so, this makes me think about blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you don't need to put the stream name in there. What's the purpose of doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it always going to be Matt's Creek? Why is he own them? Why is it always
I think I coined that.
He coined it.
Yeah, I think he did
when
too.
when someone asks, where am I fishing? Matt's Creek.
If I don't say Matt's Creek, I have to pay $1 to Matt because he's got it,
Oh, yeah.
It's the nice way of saying buzz off. Next grievance.
Nah, you need more.
More rasp.
I know. What happened to the rasp?
There's the gravel.
Next grievance.
Love that.
Very good. Very
Hey,
good.
I got one. I've been getting front-ended while guiding this year.
Oh,
And
man.
I call them fake friendly front enders. Now, we've bitched about people front ending you before. That just happens, right? And like, please don't do that. That's a grievance. But the fake friendly stuff, I've had 3 people, guides, all guides. They'll front end me. I'm talking like 30 yards or less away. And they'll come in above me. Then they turn back to me and wave, like smiles like, hey. The smile and the wave doesn't make it any better. No fake friendliness. Like, hey, we're buddies. We're not buddies. If you front end me, we're not buddies. I just took your license plate number and we are forever enemies.
So-
Don't front end me.
Do you remember my solution to this? Because it happened to me
Yeah.
recently, and it really made me mad.
Go
'Cause
ahead.
If you front end me, and it's within casting distance, it's also within throwing distance. So I'm throwing rocks at your hole because I'm not fishing it. You're not fishing it, bud.
Deli might do it. It might not be all
Yeah.
words from that guy over there.
So I had this happen 3 days ago.
Josh, you
And-
got something? Yeah.
Yeah. But get this. I was close enough to hear them well. And they were literally saying, hey now,
No way.
I'm not even messing with you.
No, that's
Not-
bad.
I'm not messing with you.
What have we done?
my
What have
I'm
we
not
done?
messing with you. Yeah, they had no idea who I was. Like, I don't have any stickers on my car or anything,
Yeah.
super incognito. But they were
It was a hey now high hole.
using the hey now.
Hey now,
Jeez.
high hole.
A hey now high hole while they're slurping a trout bitten hazy. That's
That's
like
right.
the ultimate front ender.
Oh,
That's right.
they need rocks. They need rocks applied to their fishing location.
That's right.
Next grievance.
What about long-handled nets? Last year we talked about the big hoop landing. I said if it's wider than your torso, you might have a problem. Again, this is just opinion, right? Right? It's just preference. But then the latest trend is long-handled landing net. I'm talking about like basically boat nets. And there you are, you're wading with them, and everybody's got these nets in net holsters, which I love the net holster idea. I think that's great. But that net then, if it's long handle, it's sticking up 2 feet above your head behind you. Try walking through the woods, with that. I don't understand. Somebody explain. What am I missing? Why do you
so
need
I
a
have
long handle to if you're a guide or even if you're just fishing by yourself? Why the long handle nets while you're waiting?
I'll give you 2 instances where it helps. It is
All right,
the Fish Pond and a couple of the other companies have started to make basically the back of your vest or the back of your pack or whatever has a slot through it. And so the longer
holster.
handle net will prevent it from falling out. Like the smaller the handle, the easier it is to fall out.
Fair.
The other thing is I do think the longer rods that you fish with, the less power they have when the fish get close to you. So
Fair.
the longer handle net allows you a longer reach. And so you don't have to get that fish as close to you.
The leverage you have when you're holding it out towards the end of the net, though, it's super hard to actually lift it like anything decent out of the water with it.
Yeah.
With the net itself.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Like the weight is so far forward. You've got so little leverage with those long-handled ones. I had one for a little bit and ended up getting rid of it. But it also, like Bill, yours is like the medium, the one that Fish Pond makes, and it's not that long.
No.
What I did with the last really long handle one that I don't know, the total length of the net is like 36 inches.
Yeah.
And so I actually cut 8 or 10 inches off of that handle because it was, like Josh said, you do lose some leverage and it's further away. The problem with the really long handle ones like that, if you try to put it in like the Smith Creek net holster, when you walk, you hit the back of it with your legs. And I don't like that.
That drove me crazy too.
All right, Grobe, move us on.
Next grievance.
Let's do some guest grievances before we get behind on this. I'm telling you, we got a ton of them.
I saw a pretty funny one.
Yeah.
Griggy's Bear 15.
Yeah.
Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
He said, I'm constantly feeling like maybe I'm Sloop when y'all rag on him. He says, maybe we're all a little Sloop.
Yep. Maybe we're all a little bit sloop. I love it.
Oh my god.
We've
Slooping
had a couple Sloop ones. I mean, there's one that said Black Market Bacon said just the Sloop isn't on here more.
Yeah, that's his grievance. That Sloop isn't here right
needs
now.
To be seen more here.
Well, Sloop is an enigma. He's Sloop does his own thing.
Maybe Sloop is black market bacon.
Maybe he's or he's Griggy's Bear 15.
Or he's Griggy's Bear 15.
You never know. I mean, Matt, he's in your neighborhood basically, right? Is he Griggy's Bear?
No.
No, he's not.
Sloop's doing his own thing, right? But he's friendly with the fly shops. Everybody knows Sloop John B at a fly shop. He's old school.
I love that. School. Now you told us that Sloop texted you with a grievance or two, right? What did he have?
It's this, Sloop tends to get high hold. I mean, he's got like a magnet on him, and I'd say 3 out of the 5 fishing reports I'll get weekly, if not biweekly, end with Sloop going on a rant about getting high hold.
That's rough. It is.
He's got issues with high holders, and clearly that's an issue from Pennsylvania to Montana. A lot of high holders out there.
Did you talk about parking strategy with Sloop?
Yeah, well, the issue is now he's abiding. He used to not abide. I got him abiding by the 1-car bridge roll.
Oh,
and
right.
So right. He's getting parked on and high hold, and it's just a combination of both. So he can become an angry individual when he's getting high hold. It ruins his day. I feel bad for him.
Do you think some people are more like prone to being high hold, like they're just inviting it?
It's where you go. It's just all where you go. It's where you end up.
Stereotypical, man. I
Walk
think
further.
I think it's a.
I've tried that. And I'm still getting high hold, and it's an issue this year.
But it comes, I wouldn't high hold, Bill.
Right. It comes down though to I think most anglers. Let's say most. Let's go 65%, 70% anglers.
All right, it's very precise.
Don't know any better. They truly are so clueless
for sure.
that they think it's okay because their only experiences is circling them up on first day for stock trout. Sorry, I think that's like part of it. It's a culture thing.
I don't think it's that. I would take issue with it being that large of a percentage. I think I'd give you 40%. Don't know. I think a larger percentage than you think, man, actually know what they're doing, and they're like, I'm just going to do it to this guy anyway.
Maybe.
See, Matt's nicer. I didn't realize that. But you might be,
I'm not nice about this one.
Giving people more grace than Deli is. What do you got, Deli?
So I just think
he says no.
It comes down to respect.
Yeah,
and just human decency sometimes, where you're choosing yourself and basically, in Sloop's case and some of the cases that I've had, ruining someone's day and angering them for hours because they had a bad experience on the river. Yeah. And to me, it's a lack of respect for each other.
Yeah.
If you're on a river that is less pressured and there's 1 car at the parking lot, and then you walk in and you start fishing 15 yards in front of me where I could cast and hit you, that's a problem.
Yeah. Frame of reference, though. Lots of people don't understand. If their first place that they go, if they jump out of the car and the first place they see is like, well, right in front of you, Bill, where they fish, they might be used to being 50 or 30 yards away from every other angler. I'm not really forgiving anybody for it. I'm just saying frame of reference. That's what it often comes down to. And Matt wants to forgive him.
I don't.
And you're ready to slash. You're slashing tires, aren't you?
I'm getting madder and madder about it.
Next grievance.
Whether it's after a fishing trip or at a backyard fire, you can bet the Troutbitten crew has a case of New Trail Broken Heels along with us. It's honestly our favorite beer. This hazy IPA is smooth and full-bodied. Hand-selected Citra hops lead to notes of bright clementine and juicy ruby red grapefruit. Broken Heels is a keeper. New Trail beer is proudly brewed in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and delivered cold to your favorite craft beer retailer every week. At New Trail, it's not about being the best angler. It's about getting out there. So enjoy nature's moments and reward yourself for a day well fished with New Trail Broken Heels. It's Troutbitten's favorite beer. Precision Fly and Tackle is a family-owned business with a passion for the outdoors and a sense of adventure. They are anglers who enjoy every moment spent on the water with family and friends. Precision Fly and Tackle carries the widest selection of Euro rods, reels, lines, leaders, flies, and accessories. From the beginner to the advanced angler, Precision Fly and Tackle can outfit every angler, no matter the budget. Visit them online at precisionflyandtackle.com. Then use code TROUTBITTEN10, that's the number 10, for 10% off your order. Gear up with Precision Fly and Tackle for your next adventure. Here's Billiam Frost. I love these names. From Instagram, says Colorado has been ruined. Just flat out. That's it. That's his grievance.
Yeah. I've heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah, is it pretty bad? Matt, you ever go down there?
Yeah, I've spent a ton of time in Colorado. I haven't gone down recently, but my brother has. He used to live in Durango, and it's changed. It's a lot of crowding. The stream rules are different. I don't want to sit here and bash Colorado because it's beautiful. No. Like, I love Colorado. I love fishing in Colorado, but it has the growth along the Front Range has eked out into the waters. I'll put it that way. And so that's where I believe Billiam Frost his frustrations are coming from, right? And look, and not just Colorado. Let's all be honest. I've seen it in Montana. You guys have seen it in Pennsylvania. In general, there's a lot of growth and grievances that comes with growth as anglers.
So next grievance. That's my best imitation of Matt. Clicky clicky.
People that are putting on all these clinics and stuff that are trying to get people into the industry. Yes. Okay. That's a good thing, I guess. And I know you wrote an article on it, but I guess I think the first lesson needs to be etiquette.
Fair.
Like, not let me teach you how to cast. Let me teach you how to interact with people on a river. And I don't see that anywhere. So that's my grievance.
True.
Like, teach people the right.
Point. Yeah.
Teach people the
honestly
right stuff.
think if you taught people how to golf, but didn't teach them like what's appropriate on a golf course, or like, you got to wear a polo shirt, or, like, I think that's a really, really good point, Bill.
That's a nice analogy, Trevor. I mean, that's what they teach you, right? Like, you don't do this to that golfer ahead of you. You don't do this to that golfer behind you. You don't do this to the green or whatever. I don't know about anything about golf. You replace your divot. Trevor, do you even replace your divot?
Oh, I am a picture of etiquette on a golf course.
I figured you would be.
And to my own, I will not slow play down. I don't care if I
don't even know what that means.
Basically, you're not taking forever.
Yeah.
Slow play down. Next grievance.
But one more golf analogy. If someone's going to high hole you, you should ask to play through.
Play through.
Like,
there you go.
Can I play through, sir?
Can I play through? That'd be a good thing to say to the next person that high holds you. Mind if I play through?
Do you remember Terry Tate, office linebacker?
Yes, that's what we need. We need
Terry Tate office
stream
linebacker.
Next grievance.
So how about half X tippet? Here's one of mine. Why do I need 4.5X? Why do I need 6.5X? Isn't it okay to just go from 5 to 6 or from 4 to 5? Do I really need 4.5X? There are more and more companies jumping on this. Thoughts?
I used Trout Hunter for a long time, and
I know.
they were the first ones. They started it, right? Uh-huh. I guess I've never thought of. I've not complained a bunch because they were really strong for the.
I don't care how strong it is. Right? I'm not saying it's not strong. But do I need to buy 4, 4.5, 5?
Definitely not
5.5.
Have you noticed a difference? No. But have you settled on a 4.5 as opposed to buying 4 and 5? Because that's, to me, the marketing strategy of that.
I always only bought 4.5, and I never bought 4 or 5 from.
Never looked at it that way.
Beautiful. See? That's how I looked at it.
That's why we share our grievances, because I just learned something.
Look at these
I was
guys.
doing it wrong all along. They weren't trying to sell me 3 different tippets. They were just trying to sell me
They're
one.
trying to save you some money.
They weren't saying I had to buy 4, 4.5, and 5. They were saying, Dom,
just get the one.
Just buy 4.5.
Just 4 or 5. Streamline it, baby.
And the fly shop guys, they certainly weren't trying to sell me 4, 4.5, and 5. They thought I'd be all right. I just didn't hear them. I didn't hear them right. My
Do they make a 3 1/4? Do they make a 3.25?
That's next. Come on, Deli. You know that's next. I mean, it's gonna catch you more fish.
I get it, Dom, but I liked it. I still do.
That's cool.
I don't use it so much, but I did like it.
No kidding. All right, what else? What do you have?
Next grievance.
Josh?
I'm looking through these. I'm looking through some of our listener ones, and I'm noticing some grievances on Levi on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Levi's great, but stop using the pen name on the fly after your name. So
on the fly.
Many people do
that.
You're
grieving
so
on
many
his
people
screen
do that.
name.
I am.
On the fly. Josh on the fly. Wilds Media on the fly. Troutbitten on the fly.
Look through your followers. You're going to see a bunch of on the fly. I promise. You'll see 50 of them at least.
Sorry, Levi.
Levi, I bet you're a great guy. Levi says warranty processes and pricing are getting out of hand.
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's so true.
That's why I think you're probably a good guy.
That's right.
Just change your Instagram name.
That's true. It is getting crazy. We used to, spend a lot less for a rod, but you're like, well, all right, I'll spend that extra couple $100 because I know I got the warranty. But now they've factored all that warranty in because guys like Grow break them and send them back, send them back.
I definitely break them.
Anyway, it's all factored in now, buddy. You're not getting a deal. Oh, and you have to pay for the replacement now too. Used to be free or just pay for the shipping. Now you got to give them like $100 sometimes to fulfill the rod warranty, which you already paid for in the original cost. More money.
Next grievance. Okay, I got one from Drewster the Rooster.
Yeah, I love these names.
Answering the catching anything
Yeah.
question multiple times a day from passerbys.
He's tired of it.
I couldn't agree with you more, Drewster the Rooster. I mean, just, and it seems to happen more during peak hatch/tourist season, right?
Boat season. Right?
Yeah.
Floating by in a kayak. Catching anything.
Just, does it matter? Does it matter?
That's what I wanted.
It's probably not going to change your day, bud.
Mm-mm.
I have guys drive by where I'm fishing a river near a road, and they will stop and they will try to have a conversation with me fishing. And I'm like, I'm trying to I'm to the point now where I will not fish along a road because it makes me mad because I'll get 3 guys drive by. Hey, are the sulfurs hatching yet? No, it's noon. Nice try.
I like that, Bill. I'm going to start saying, I'm not your bartender. And just keep fishing.
Right. That's right. Just this morning, late morning, Joey and I were taking our waders off, and a truck stopped right beside us. You could hear him slowing down. I go, oh boy. and he slows down. First words were, "What's the water temperature?" I go, "I don't know." And he says, "Well, what's the temp?" I go, "I didn't take it." I said, "It's morning. It's fine." I said, "We caught more bass than trout." And he goes, "Really?" And then the conversation went on, but I don't know. It's the people are nice and friendly, but again, read the room, right?
If I'm on the bank,
not a good opener either.
Right. If you're on the bank smoking a cigar or having a sandwich, that's more acceptable than trying to dissect the river, fishing hard, and having to look over your shoulder 4 times to have conversations with people.
Yeah.
Like that, Drewster. Next grievance.
That's right. I got to get this in here so we don't leave it behind. I got the sheep mentality, right? This goes across the whole fishing industry, every industry, I think. Everybody has to be a copycat, right? Everybody's got to do the same thing as the last person who was fishing. There's all these trends, and we talk about them, and some of them are fine. Some of them are great. Honestly, some of them are actual, I'd say, improvement in our game. That might be 10% of them. Most of them are just trends. They're trying to sell you something, and we all see through it, and I think most of you out there see through it too. But why does everyone follow it anyway? That's my thing. It's like this sheep mentality, and meaning that so many people move the same direction at the same time for apparently the same reasons. And I will say, because it's fishing, nobody gets enough time on the water to actually, very few people get enough time on the water to actually figure things out for themselves. So everybody is like, oh, I don't want to get left behind, so I'm going to move this way because that's what he's doing. That leader formula, I'm going to go micro thin because everybody's going micro thin. That's what I'm going to do. Or I'm going to fish really big streamers because that's how you catch big trout. That was the thing before, right? Now that's what I'm going to do. I get tired of it. We all get tired of seeing this sheep mentality. And even the way that people hold a fish up to the camera. It's all, it's this, he did it before me. I'm going to do it the same way right here. I don't know, like think outside the box, even the way people record videos and the way information is disseminated. And I'm going to tell you right now, here's a self-grievance. Like, I know I'm guilty of it too. I'm not excusing myself. We all, though, I think as people who try to educate or try to maybe create something that people can read, listen to, or view, we try to do something different. We try to create things. And, everything is definitely a riff on the things that came before it. But I would suggest that we all try to think a little further outside the box and just don't be a copycat so much. And just because your buddy's catching them on this fly in this way, or you don't have to do the same thing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good.
Come on, sheeple.
Yeah, I feel like if we're all honest, there's a little bit of us in all that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very true. You don't want to be left behind, right?
No.
Next grievance.
Nice
right.
grievance. John Owen says YouTubers, spot burners, and GoPros. So
Well, yeah.
spot burners for sure, and there's a lot of YouTube spot burners out there.
Mhm.
Certainly here in Central PA, we've got a few that are pretty popular within a small circle on YouTube that certainly aren't discreet about. Well, they're not discreet. They use where they're fishing as an advertisement. And I think that's what I would agree with in terms of his grievance, is that there's sort of this exploitation of a resource and kind of an, disrespectful sharing of a spot because they know it's going to get more views. And so it's very self-serving.
Yeah.
And it's done to get clicks and to get views. And there's not a bit of care in the world put towards the anglers that really don't want that broadcast all over. And I think, the counter argument is always like, everybody knows about these rivers, everybody knows about these
Right.
streams.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But I do think it makes a difference to let people have their own authentic experience. It goes back to that copycat thing too, where you see one guy catch a fish on X river and all of a sudden the next time you show up there, there's 20 cars there, and there's nowhere to fish. And I feel like that's a big tension in our sport of we want people on the water. You wrote the article, right? Yeah. We want people on the water. We certainly want people to enjoy it. The whole reason we even have a podcast is because there's others out there that are interested in fishing. And yet we want people to be able to come to this sport with a similar experience where they can explore and discover themselves and not have these people just throwing around the names of rivers like it's
Well, I
something
think,
to be,
it goes back to what Dom mentioned before, right, about the sheep. I feel like it's when one person has the YouTube channel, it kind of goes nuts, right? It's a lot of different things going on, and I've seen more of that, right? If one fly shop has a live stream report, or all of a sudden their face of the fly shops, in a boat, doing videos, that now all of a sudden everybody has to do that, and it turns into this, I don't know, just inundated world of, I got all these videos to choose from now, right? Who to believe.
right.
It's a competition of burning it down to the point of this guy did this. Oh, well, I'll do him one better. I'll tell you the access to go to.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, kind of along the lines of Trevor talked about some of the YouTube, like exploiting rivers and stuff. Now there's starting to be this next level where some of these people are turning into guides and then guiding these rivers and exploiting them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, hey, if you have the river knowledge and you have the information, I think, yes, you can be, there's no reason you can't go and be a guide, but I think you have to take into consideration what you're doing and the impacts it has to that river system.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't think, it took me, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years probably being being outdoorsman, woodsman, whatever we're calling it.
Yeah.
And understanding what my impact is when I fish through a small stream, when I fish through a bigger stream in an unpressured river. And so I think there's a lot of this, hey, I've been fishing for 4 or 5 years, hey, I'd learned this river and now I'm going to guide it. And so I feel like there should be, I don't know, like a river etiquette course or something. Like most other professions, you have to complete some sort of course. Like in PA, you have to complete like a course that says, hey, I can do CPR. But like there's nothing in there that tells you how to interact with people, interact with other guides. And it would be good potentially across the nation. Like, hey, if you're going to be a fishing guide, maybe there's just a seminar or a course or something you can attend that might just bring to light more from the educational standpoint of what your environmental impacts are in a river.
Nice.
I like that. Yeah.
Can I add in the also the false marketing aspect of what I see sometimes on YouTube? And what I mean by that is, you've some of these folks, incredibly prevalent faces in the fly fishing industry, ripping streamers out of a boat, claiming to miss mid-20s fish. And, it's silly. Like you can actually look on the video and see a high teens fish in the slow-mo area. But it's false advertising. It's false expectations. It's like, what are you trying to sell? You didn't miss a mid-20s fish. Like,
right.
Know your platform, know who you're reaching out to, but also know that people that know what they're talking about can call out the bullshit. And I think it does a disservice to the community when you false market certain things for a gain, whether it be financially or clicks.
Right on. In the guest grievances, we got a lot of comments that are kind of along these same lines. Wrangling Trout says posting stream names, basically spot burning. That's his grievance.
He's fun too, because if you look at look at what he does post, he puts pretty creative stuff in the location tag. How you can tag a location.
Right on.
It'll be like Middle Earth and stuff like that.
I know.
Pretty fun.
That's
cool.
You have Tobias Young says using fly fishing for the culture and not the actual fishing itself. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it is.
That's what we're talking about. That's offensive. They're not just us. There's so many people out there listening. We really do want these authentic experiences. And we will walk miles and drive further miles to find those authentic experiences. And we enjoy it. And our hope is that other people will very much enjoy it the same way. And people don't have to enjoy it our way, but I will say that digging in deep and really finding those resources for yourself, finding those streams that are off the beaten path and getting out there, breaking things down, learning all the different tactics that you could possibly do on a fly rod, and being just overwhelmed by all the possibilities and overwhelmed by everything that's around you in these natural environments and these hopefully wild trout if you can find them. I mean, that's what we're looking for. And I know for a fact that's what so many of our listeners are looking for. And it is. It's at least mildly offensive when people will kind of commercialize it. And that's what we're saying.
And I think that happens. I mean, that's in like every single hobby. There's that group of people that gets more out of what other people think about them doing it than they do about, it's not about the actual pursuit. It's they golf because they like to look preppy. They fly fish because they like to appear outdoorsy. They hike because they like to appear like they're an environmentalist. Whatever it is, that group exists, I feel like, in almost every single subculture. And that's definitely not what we're interested in at Troutbitten. I think we come to the sport and we're interested in fly fishing because there's something very essential about fly fishing that connects to each of us, and our listeners. I would say like the vast majority seem to be the same type of people. So I really do appreciate and think that we have, I don't know, brag on our listeners a little bit. I feel like we have just such an awesome group of people that either come fish with us, listen to us. When we have these events like the New Trail events, my goodness, the people that show up, they're just great people who are really in it for a lot of the same reasons that we are. So I feel like we're pretty lucky to get the right side of the coin with that.
I really feel like it is the majority of the industry. I just don't think they have the biggest voice.
Totally.
For all the pushing that we've done this spring against, clubs that stalk over wild trout and against stalking trout in any case over wild trout, there's very little negativity that's coming our way. Some, but often those are people who actually didn't listen to the whole podcast or didn't read the full article and don't quite understand what they're saying. They'll start talking about native fish, which is cool too, and we just addressed that last week. I really feel like the majority of people, the majority of fishermen out there kind of feel the same way as we do. I know we're in a bubble. I'm acknowledging that, right? I know there's a Troutbitten bubble, but I just feel like this is the majority of the anglers, and I don't think they have as big of a voice as they should.
But we see that across everything, right? Like it feels like the minority is always the loudest, like across anything. Yeah, and it's the same thing with this. It's like the problem isn't in the majority.
Do you think that's because there's not like a secondary gain, for the majority of people? And I like what I mean by that is think about politics too, right? Like the people if you listen to the news, you would think a very different picture of our country than when you go around and talk to your friends or talk to people of your, across your same age group in society, because the news has something to gain from polarizing and creating clicks and kind of making it feel like there's a lot more controversy and just trouble going on, And I think the same thing sometimes in the industry is that, the people that are doing the most posting and doing the most content creation,
right?
And I'm not saying this as an indictment on them. It's just they're in it and as a business and a way of life, right? They have money to make from it. They know it works, right?
Yeah, good point.
And so you get along with people doing it with good ethics, and it's something that honestly, since I became part of this group and Troutbitten, it's something that I've honestly respected so much about. And I think I even asked you at one point in time over a beer, Tom, like, where do you get your code of ethics about how you run Troutbitten?
Yeah.
Because I think it's pretty apparent that there's a code of ethics that you operate on that is not shared by everybody. And I don't think
we all do here. It's not me. It's us. Yeah.
And I don't think, and I don't mean this to be like a self-congratulatory moment, but I do think what creates value sometimes is saying like, hey, we're not going to just sell out and say whatever gets the most clicks. We're not going to just do the thing that is the most popular at any given time. We're going to play it like it lies. We're going to speak the truth. We're going to talk about products that we believe in. We're going to talk about tactics that we believe in. We're not going to say things just for the sake of saying them. And I think what's resonated with our listeners is that exact thing, that people are tired of hearing just what sounds like commercial after commercial from people that have a lot to gain from saying things,
Yeah. That's getting worse because it works so well. And that's what you guys are saying too. Yeah.
Well, and look, let's face it, like, and I'm not going to speak on, like, obviously, Dom, you make money off this, but the reality is it's like a lot of us are just hardcore fishermen, like, right?
That's where it starts. Right?
It really is. It's always been that way.
Yeah.
The basis of your business was always that,
I
right?
know, right?
And
Fish
you
hard.
found a way to do what you love and make a living out of it, where some of this stuff that's going on is just capitalization on, and it's almost like they shouldn't earn it, but they're able to, right? Because of the polarization and the marketing gimmicks and all that stuff. And sometimes it's sad to see. I guess one of my grievances is I hate to see people be able to succeed off of the bogus messages.
Well, you say bogus, and this brings me to another point. I say educators out there, let's say across the media landscape, whether it's YouTube or Instagram, educators who are learning as they go. We've all talked about this. You could tell. And you could even look back at this person's, pick your person. You could look back through their Instagram feed, for example, or their YouTube. You could tell, like, all right, they started fishing really like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And I think what happens is they put some neat content out. And I wouldn't take that away from them. They put some neat content, and they start out, they're just fishing. And then people start asking them, like, hey, well, what's your rig there? What's your rod? What's your leader? What's your tactic? What are you doing? And they have some pretty good ideas, right? But they're still, let's say, only 2 years deep, 2.5 years deep. They don't know that much. And that's not even their fault. And then it's not even their fault that people are asking them. And then they answer questions, and then they get feedback on that. Oh, hey, that really helped me out. And again, almost not their fault. They start to see themselves as people. Well, I don't know if they see themselves as experts. I don't want to go that far. But they see themselves as educators. Now they're in that role. And maybe they didn't even put themselves in that role. But that's the model. That's the thing that happens. That's the pattern. That's what happens next. Is now they're seen as like this expert. Mm-hmm. And because they have 50,000 followers on Instagram and they put a video out and the first thing people want, what fly were you using? How are you doing it? All of a sudden, these people are educating masses of other people, new people or beginners, based on like 2 or 3 years of experience. And I'm not dramatizing that. I mean, that's the way it is, right? We see this a lot. And it's kind of along the same lines as what you were saying.
You're going to make me go off on health advice here.
I bet people, it's similar.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I don't even think you can bottle that into just fishing. I think that's the overall landscape of social media is that I have a channel, therefore, like you're saying, you're answering questions, and I think that person is building confidence because they've answered questions and they've gotten the positive feedback. Yeah, and so they continue to build their confidence, but not necessarily their knowledge all the time.
Ooh, that's the way to put it. Thank you.
Yeah, totally.
You see the same thing in the health industry, Doc?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, sorry to make my own self-serving point, but it's just crazy how, and I think you look at industries, I think obviously no industry is safe from this, but with how much money is to be gained in the health industry, I mean, healthcare is, I don't even remember what the latest figure is, but 10 to 20% of our GDP, maybe 10%, huge amount of money.
Yeah.
And there are so many people online giving health advice without any qualifications, dietary advice, nutritional advice, and they're real. The only thing they have really to give themselves credibility is the picture of themselves in, with a six pack or a sports bra that looks good. And so then people just ask them, oh, well, what are you eating? Or what are you doing for your workout? And what are you doing for, how did you cure this? And all of a sudden there's just like a wealth of amateur health advice. And I don't know. I just think we all need to be a little bit more discerning when it comes to what we see on social media. And I think honestly, I think sometimes the younger generations know that a little bit more than even we do, because we're a little bit more naive to it, because we just think like, maybe we even think the best in people too often, that like, oh, well, why would they say that if they don't really know it? But it's a whole thing.
Next grievance.
A slightly maybe less harmful byproduct of all of this that we're talking about, but still in the realm of influencers, and the moment people start to see that they can maybe make some money from things, it completely sometimes changes the way that they start to put out content. Because I think that, like you were talking about, Dom, like people have good ideas at first, and that's usually how it starts, and that's usually how people will start to get a following, and at that point, usually there's no money involved. And as soon as there's a sponsor involved or a free product involved or anything like that, that changes things. And one of the annoying things that comes about that, and maybe we've talked about this before, is gear reviews, but where it's like an unboxing.
Yeah, unboxing. That's the easiest gear review.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know anything about it.
You open up a product and you do a gear review on it.
Look at
It's
this.
never used, never even looked at.
Haven't used it yet.
Here's a review. Here's how I
goodness.
think I would use it.
Look at the packaging.
It's going to last.
exactly.
This is going to be durable. I can just tell it's going to be durable.
And at some point in the video, they'll be like, full disclosure, they did send this to me.
Oh, right.
That's deep. Next grievance.
The landscape is changing for trout anglers. No doubt you've already noticed another truck at your favorite access point and seen more anglers on the water. For those looking for new challenges and fishing opportunities, Trout Routes has the data to help you avoid the crowds and explore new public water. Trout Routes has mapped more than 50,000 trout streams across the country with curated, detailed maps of public land and access points. Trout Routes has developed integrated and interactive data, putting the tools in your hands to research new water and help you navigate in the wild to know exactly where you stand in the current. It's still up to you to find those deep pools and undercuts, but Trout Routes helps you get on the water, connecting you with resources like fly shops and stream gauges for trout water across the country. Download Trout Routes in the App Store today. Then use the code Troutbitten for 20% off your membership at maps.troutroutes.com. For over a decade, Smith Creek has designed and built outstanding gear for the serious angler. Smith Creek's Rod Rack is the perfect solution to store up to 7 pre-rigged fly rods safely inside your vehicle. Each kit comes with 2 heavy-duty suction cups and 3 mounting methods. If your vehicle has bolt holes in the rear headliner, Smith Creek now offers free M6 eye bolts with your proof of purchase. The Smith Creek Rod Rack has been my choice for rod storage for the last 5 years because I prefer to keep my rods in the vehicle, rigged up and ready to go, without the need for a rod vault on the top of the vehicle. All Smith Creek gear is backed by outstanding customer service, no matter where or when you bought it. To stay up to date on their latest specials, follow them on Instagram at SmithCreekNZ. Quality you can depend on from a brand you can trust. Smith Creek.
We could tie a bunch into just like trout handling, and there's a guy, Brett Siegel says, the guy who cares more about a good picture than about trout surviving. There's one about squeezing guts out of a fish on grip and grins or hero
Robert.
shots. There you go.
Well, hey, I wanted to bring that up. That's Matt Grobert.
Oh, Matt Grobert.
Isn't that wild?
This is not Matt Grove.
I thought for sure Matt typed that in there.
I've had a lot of people assume that you, Matt Grobe, are Matt Grobert.
I wrote that in.
Do you know? No. Do you know him?
No. You know who isn't Matt Grobert one of the like writers of The Simpsons?
No, that's Matt Groening. Matt Grobert writes books, ties flies, and he's from New Jersey.
So the writer of
Maybe.
The Simpsons wrote in, anglers squeezing the guts out of trout while holding it up for a hero shot.
That's
Damn
his
it.
grievance. That's his grievance.
Yeah, there's definitely some trout mishandling out there for sure.
Yeah.
And it's,
Big-
beyond
grievance.
beyond that they're being mishandled. I think it's even more sad that those photos then are getting posted
Oh, yeah.
because there's just such a lack of self-awareness.
When it's even worse when it's a shop or an outfitter service with a client death
Oh,
gripping
my
a
goodness.
fish, right? That makes it even
I know.
way worse. And that
I know.
happens
But it's a fish.
a lot.
Right, but it's a fish,
But
and they're just trying to show it to you. Gotta sell it.
Goes back
Gotta
to the
sell it.
education.
Yeah.
The fly shops need to educate.
What are you teaching people?
What are you teaching them? Teaching them to kill fish.
One of my things too is the fly shops lately. Well, fly shops a few years ago would say like, "Oh, here's like if you're coming to this area, you need about these 10 flies." Now it's like, "Here's the 40 flies that you're going to need." And that's again
I love that.
disingenuous. I mean, right now, if you come to our area, some of our local fly shops are telling you that there's a list of like 40 flies. I'm like, "Bud, you need like 5 flies." You know?
Yeah.
Seriously.
But it's the
main
trend,
hatches
man.
are over. Yeah, I get it.
But it
right?
goes back into like if they're not doing it, right? I mean, if they're not throwing the client with the big fish in the photo, right?
Right. I know.
And I've, long-armed plenty of fish before, but if you're not doing that, then every fly shop's not going to be competing, right?
Yeah.
There's no like niche. It's like, okay, if you're doing a live stream report, I'm doing a live stream report.
I know. Got to keep up.
And if I'm not putting 50 flies on, you're not putting 60 flies on. Like
I
it's
know.
the same crap over and over again.
It is. It's that sheep mentality again too. And then there you are in the business. I've said before, I'm glad I don't own a fly shop because you would feel, you'd feel like you had to do these things to keep up. I don't know if I'd do them, but it's something.
Next grievance.
I like this one. I like Grigsby Bear 15 not having a hookup phrase I really enjoy.
Yeah, right.
That's
The hookup
good.
phrase, like, "Hey now."
Yeah. Hey now. Hey now.
That's right. He needs a hookup. Come on, Grigsby Bear.
Josh, what's Kelsey's again? Doesn't she have a good hookup phrase?
No, didn't Caitlin have one?
No, Caitlin's is "That's mine."
Oh yeah. She said that's mine.
Yeah, that's your wife.
That's my wife. Jeez.
Oh,
Come on,
man.
boys.
You better cut that
Wow.
one out.
I better
not gonna
cut
go
that
well.
out.
That's not
Edit
gonna
that.
go well.
Jeez.
Next grievance.
AJ Walters 002 influencers saying it's about more than catching fish. He says, so he doesn't like to hear him say that so much, and he concludes that with, "Geez,
Yeah.
come
We have a
on."
good inside joke with Troutbitten, don't we? When we're not catching fish. And we're just like, well, at least I'm just glad to be out here.
It's just nice
so
being out
glad.
there.
Just so
Just
nice
nice
to be out. Just nice to be outside.
He makes a good point though. Everybody's like, "Oh, hey, it's more than just a fish out here, guys." Yeah,
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah.
We know.
That's only said when you're not catching fish, though. So
Right, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
You can enjoy both. It's okay. You can catch them too.
Next grievance.
Hey, Chad Parsons, 3167, says the lack of size standards in hooks. Come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that one.
We all
Yes.
agree with that.
That was your
Right?
grievance. I think last year or the year before.
Yeah, that was maybe
think a
like
couple years ago,
season
right?
1 grievance.
Like, let's all get together and somebody say, here's what a number 12 is like. And then we can go 2X long, 1X strong, 1X thin. Okay. Can we have a standard, please? I mean, there's fly line standards. There's supposed to be tippet standards, but now we have 4.25X.
Yep.
Anyway, you could still follow that standard.
Next grievance.
We've got one that maybe we could clear up a little bit. We got the Brian Barth saying stalker hate for those of us without any other trout options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, true. We're not hating on you who don't have other options and are choosing
Yeah.
to fish them, though.
Right.
We're more so hating on what had to happen to make it that way.
Ooh, good point.
Yeah, and I think if you go back on the podcast many times, at least I know Dom and I and Bill may be included in this, but we're very, very vocal on the fact that we both grew up fishing nothing but stock trout.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Yeah.
importance of that, and it got us into the
Sure.
the sport, and so it's situational when we're talking about stock trout. We never hate, stock trout.
Right.
It's
Right.
situationally there's issues with stocked trout.
Right on. Yeah, especially don't stalk over wild trout. There, that's it. I think I've said that every podcast this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next grievance.
I got a quick one.
Oh boy.
No hook keepers on a fly rod. Did we mention
That's
that
terrible.
before?
No.
Can we
No.
just have a hook keeper?
Come on.
Austin has a
man.
nice
Please.
way of using a paper clip.
I
gonna
wouldn't
get
say
him.
nice.
What
I
is the
wouldn't say
point of
nice.
that?
I would say he has a
It's
way.
the stupidest thing ever.
To exclude it is stupid.
I'm fishing 2 rods right now, prominently. I'm not going to talk about what, but they don't have hook holders. And I'm like, come on, man.
yeah.
I got to put it on my
Yeah.
reel and stuff, and then you ding your reel up.
I know. Don't tell me about all the other ways to do it. I know all the other ways to do it. I don't want to do it that way, and it has a lot to do with whatever rig I'm using. I will sometimes do it other ways, and I actually won't use the hook keeper. But, oh, man, if people don't want it, they can clip it off. If I want it, put it on there. I'm insulted that I have to spend $999 on a fly rod, and then there's no hook keeper. That's ridiculous. It's
Right.
just ridiculous.
You can always cut it off if you really
Exactly. If it
What
gets
does
in
it
your
get
way,
in the way
cut it off. I know.
Right.
Nobody, it doesn't get in the way.
Out of the millions of casts I made, I don't think I've ever hooked my hook keeper
want. Yeah.
No.
with
Yeah.
fly line or mono ever.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's
It's
no
only
good
there
reason
for my convenience,
to exclude it.
and now it's gone.
Next grievance.
Another thing I'll say, and this is on a more positive note, is many people, we've been talking a lot about trying to change the stocking policies, the embedded hatchery mindset of so many fish commissions. We talk a lot about it. And I get emails that say like, oh, you can't change it. Like, don't even bother. They won't listen. And people act like things cannot change. And I just don't believe that. I'll never believe that. Why? Because we have seen it change. We see things in just this state, in this very backward state as far as our fish commission goes. We've seen things change. They are going the right direction. And we've seen things change in terms of wild trout policy and actually protecting some Class A wild trout that are in streams that are now catch and release, and they stop stocking over it. We've seen it. It does change. So we're not being super idealistic or like, just pie in the sky ideas. No, these things can happen, and we can affect that change.
Sure.
So believe it, let yourself believe that. Be hopeful instead of so negative. It can happen. You got to get together. You got to make it happen.
I think I shared with you guys today that a professor at Penn State reached out. He's a professor of ichthyology. It's been his whole life researching fish and reached out just to say that how much he agreed and how much the research is behind the not stocking over wild trout populations. And
Love that.
he had a whole bunch of different reasons for that, including its impact on generation after generation of trout bred to survive in particular streams being and then being confronted with erosion of that genetic pool with stock trout, as well as the impact on the resource from a food standpoint and what those stock trout do to the food resources within a stream, because they eat kind of without, just with like abandon, basically.
Yeah.
And they have no particular rhyme or reason to what they're eating, when they're eating, how they're eating. They're just bred to feed. And it's pretty interesting. But anyway, my point to say that is that I think the time is really good right now, and there's some ears listening, and there's a lot of things stacking up behind this message of not stocking over wild trout populations. And so I do think that there is some ground to be gained when it comes to us making some changes in not only Pennsylvania, but hopefully any other state that's experiencing a similar thing. And hopefully we can keep drawing on states like yours, Grove, out there in Montana, that's had such success with really doing away with stocking.
Well, and the blueprints there from, and Trevor, you know this as well as anybody, if they change the antler restrictions for hunting in Pennsylvania, there's your blueprint. Like, they did it. There was an uproar, and now everybody's happy. Same thing would happen with stocking over wild trout. It's you're educating, goes back to Bill and education. You'd quickly educate individuals on how nature would flourish in certain environments without the stocking of wild trout. It's really not. We don't need your buddy here, right? Jokingly, but like seriously, it's not really rocket science. Like, it's proven. It's proven that it'll help the population
so many times.
And you'll actually enjoy it more. But and I'm with Dom. You keep shoving that down the throats of people. They'll get it at some point. It'll change. It might just be really long, really long.
And you can't stop pushing. And we're not going to stop pushing. Anything else, guys? You want to go through a couple more of these?
Next grievance. What do I feel like I got to read the where I saw Clayton.
Oh, yeah. Clayton talked about you, bud.
Not seeing the legend Matt Grobe around Bozeman, so I can pay my respects.
And maybe buy you a beer. That's what he should do.
I need to. Clayton, we'll link up.
There you go.
But don't high-hole me, Clayton, or we'll never meet up.
There'll be rocks in your future, Clayton.
That's right, rocks. Deli's throwing rocks at you.
Next grievance.
How about, I think you had it on here, Becky's grievance.
Becky was mad.
For the love of God, would someone read an article or watch a video before they comment? Like, if you're going to comment a paragraph, at least have the decency to listen to the podcast or read the article.
Yeah. Back to the Karens, right? People start writing their comment before they've even finished listening to the video or reading the article. It's just ridiculous. Some people just want to be offended.
That's, again, human nature.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's a newer human nature to try to find a way to be offended.
It's.
I think that's a newer.
Yeah, it's accepted now.
Yeah.
It's sheeple, right? More sheeple trying to do the same thing.
Sheeple. I like that, sheeple.
I'm going to be offended too.
Did you make that up?
Well,
did you make that up, or
I'm an English major. No, I didn't make that up.
Next grievance.
Nature Boy yelling at. Yeah, he says hogging the boat ramp. What do you think about that, Matt? You don't like those guys hogging the boat ramp?
Well, it gets nasty out here for that.
Does
guys
it?
that can't back a trailer up, and you got one.
I would feel the pressure.
I've seen it, and I've actually felt bad, and you can tell who the inexperienced guides are, and they're sweating bullets. Their clients there. It's like they can't put the trailer in the water right, and the plugs aren't in, and they ding. Just bad things happen. So I see that and feel that pain a lot.
Learning as they go.
Is that Ric Flair? Is that one of Ric Flair's relatives, the Nature Boy that we just?
Yeah, that was him.
Read his comment.
Yeah, for sure.
He's at the boat ramp every time someone messes up. Woo! Making the dude sweat harder.
I like it. So are we going to have grievances 4 next year, guys?
We got.
Yeah, we can find something to bitch about.
We'll keep it going.
We can always find something to bitch about.
It's annual.
All right. There it is. Complaining's not a bad thing if it accomplishes something productive, or if it's kind of fun, or if it draws attention to some of the absurdities around you. Some things need to change because there are plenty of influences and influencers leading us all down a road to nowhere, or really to a place that loses the depth of this fishing experience, of what we love about the woods and the water in the first place. So let's be a voice for that stuff too. Let's complain a little more against those things pulling us all in the wrong direction. Keep fishing fun. Keep it pure. Keep it a simple match between fish and fishermen, surrounded by mystery and embedded with the wild, unpredictable nature of the outdoors and everything it holds for us. Whatever you believe, take a stand for it. That's what we're trying to do here with the Airing of Grievances. Hey, we have one more episode for this season, and that one is about prospecting for trout. But lastly, here are a few more details about the New Trail Troutbitten beer launching on June 29th at the New Trail Brewing Company in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The release event is a meet and greet. The Troutbitten guys will be there. The brewery opens at noon, and we'd just like to have you come out and share a beer with us. No tickets are necessary. Just show up, say hi, and talk about fishing. A bunch of our Troutbitten partners have donated some items to give away as well. And the Precision Fly and Tackle Mobile Fly Shop will be there too. Justin and the crew at the Mobile Fly Shop will be at the center of the giveaways, so you can sign up for things over there and share a beer with them as well. We'll have a few more details about all that next week too. Anyway, hope to see you there. The New Trail Troutbitten beer pours on June 29th. Join us. Dr. Trevor Smith, will you read us out?
Remember, the Troutbitten Project is a free resource for all anglers. The Troutbitten website hosts over 1,000 articles with endless stories, commentaries, tactics, tips, and more. Find what you like through the top menu and through the search page.
Quick today.
Navigate by way of the categories and tags too. Be sure to find the Troutbitten YouTube channel, now featuring the Troutbitten Tip series, the Fish and Film series, and the Troutbitten Flybox, all in collaboration with Wilds Media. Thank you for listening to the Troutbitten Podcast. Please give the show a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and leave a comment, because it really helps. Until next time, friends, fish hard, enjoy the day, and find your life on the water.
Hey now.
Speedy.
Right?
Hey now.
Slowly down. Find your life on the water.
Hey now.
I think Deli is dumb.
That's the way I choose to fish.
Hey now.
Yeah.
I have an internal grievance.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, here comes Deli.
I'm sick of feeling like the black sheep.
Nothing like it.
Next grievance.
Black market bacon.
Oh, I am a picture of etiquette on a golf course.
I figured you would be.
Can I play through, sir?
Levi, I bet you're a great guy.
I couldn't agree with you more, Drewster the Rooster.
Come on, boys.
There's issues with stocked trout.
Oh boy.
Can we just have a hook keeper?
And now it's gone.
Oh, man.
I'm getting madder and madder about it.
Next grievance.